Welcome to the training camp recap on Altitude Sports Radio, 92.5 on Altitude Sports Radio's YouTube page, on Twitch, on my Twitter, on Mike Sanford's Twitter, and on the radio station's Twitter or X.
A lot of Twitters, a lot of X's.
We got you covered. One way.
All my X's live in Twitter.
Is that right?
That's right, man. How are you doing today?
Good to know. I'm doing great. Doing great. It was a we'll get to Deion Sanders in a little bit. We'll get to the Mike Tyson of the Broncos, but we start off with the biggest news story of the day. And Mike, when you get yourself $92 million, you might look a little bit like this. I'm going to sign this, and I'm going to sign that, and it works okay. And I'm smiling because I'm wicked rich. More. Gonna take my photo. Smiling, of course. There's my boss. He just gave me all the money. I like him. No problem with him. There's my lovely lady. I'm so happy. Like, this is awesome. That's awesome. You were just a broke ass at SMU, and now look at this. I can't believe it. So, congratulations to Courtland Sutton. The details of the deal are, he had $14 million guaranteed already. He will get another 27 guaranteed on top of that. If he does play out his contract extension, it'll be 4 years, 92, but players in general never play out their money. Although Courtland is about to play out his 4-year, $60 million deal, Mike, so you never know.
Right.
Either way, if he does get paid for this entire contract, he will have made in his career as the Denver Broncos $160 million.
Wow.
All
right, so let's talk about the value for the Broncos, right?
Okay. All right.
If last year was the pinnacle for both Courtland Sutton and his football team, I wouldn't say the value is great. If the Broncos are able to reach an AFC championship game in the time that Courtland Sutton is a Bronco under his current contract, in my opinion, slam dunk. Great value. Because it most likely would go hand in hand with his production and rookie quarterback Bo Nix continuing to grow together.
It's always interesting. Do you get paid for what you did or what you're going to do? And who you are. Now, while the money is astonishing, it only makes him, right now, 16th, 17th highest wide receiver.
18? That's that right?
Something like, along those lines, right?
So I saw he was tied with, Tennessee Titan of last year, Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
Calvin Ridley probably came into the league with a whole heck of a lot more fanfare.
Mm-hmm.
But would we both agree that the trajectory of Calvin Ridley seems slightly arrowed down? Whereas the trajectory of Courtland Sutton clearly is arrow up.
Perhaps. But what's fascinating is that these receivers, Mike, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be running backs. Make them receivers. My goodness. And it doesn't feel like it's slowing down. So in 2 years from now, I think Courtland Sutton will be lucky to be top 25 the way that it's going. Now, how many yachts can you water ski behind? Money is money, and it's outstanding for Courtland Sutton, and it cements him arguably as one of the greater Broncos of all time, or at least it should. I think some more accomplishments, playoff success have to come along the way. But for a guy who was drafted by a team and is going to be here for a long time, and Mike, for a guy that we talked about might get traded last year if the Broncos started off like we thought they were going to start off, this is pretty remarkable.
It was in the post Russell Wilson, Sean Payton looking forward era of the Denver Broncos. I mean, I was kind of assuming that a lot of the guys that were going to be on Sean Payton's chopping block were guys that were lock in step at least the last 2 years with Russell Wilson. One of those players, Garrett Bowles, who we heard from today in the media scrum.
Yeah,
still very much a Denver Bronco, and a very good one at that. Had his best season of his career. And I thought Courtland Sutton might be, you could see there was synergy between Courtland Sutton and Russell Wilson. in that 2023 season. Justin Simmons is the one. I mean, that's the one that we saw that really felt like a Russell Wilson era guy. But yeah, it's wild, man. Courtland Sutton, Garrett Bowles, very much a part of the Sean Payton, Bo Nix, Denver Bronco era.
Yeah, and to confirm what you're saying, I don't know if there were two players closer to Russell Wilson than Garrett Bowles and Courtland Sutton. And there you go. So, hey, man, Court's a great guy. It's been my pleasure to know him and be around him many, many times over the years. They got to the playoffs, so way to go for Courtland Sutton last year. Can sort of check that box off. You hate to go through your career and never make the playoffs. And like Brandon Marshall, the receiver, has done that. Justin Simmons has done that. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And that was
is Justin Simmons on a team right now?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting, is it? Second year in a row for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if, like, is Dalton Reisner on anybody's team?
I thought I saw he
landed somewhere.
Thought so, but I could be wrong.
Okay. You got any theories about Justin Simmons?
Yeah, I think he's just in a position where his agent is, rather than settling for, I wouldn't say veteran minimum money, but a real bargain deal. I think his agent is wisely waiting to shop him when there is, kind of like the Broncos inside linebacker room gets hit by the injury bug.
We're going to get there.
If that's a safety room that gets hit by the injury bug, then all of a sudden Justin Simmons is back in a place where he commands dough. He commands some serious bread.
We're going to get to the inside linebacker stuff in just a second. Diana Rossini and Chase Daniels were in town. They were talking to Bo Nix about Courtland Sutton, how much he digs him.
And everyone I talked to here about Courtland Sutton, the first thing, I'm not kidding, multiple coaches said there's no defense, right? Meaning he is team first. He's a dog. For a quarterback, right, that's got to be huge because he's a leader on the team. He's been around for a long time, right? I mean, there's just no defense.
No, he sets an example for that room that you're going to show up, you're going to practice, you're going to practice hard, and that's going to translate to playing hard. And he does a great job off the field of taking care of his body. He's a great leader. You just know what you're going to get out of him. He's so consistent. And that's why he trains like every year to have, it doesn't matter up until this point, he was quarterback. You knew he was going to be solid, reliable. And now year 2 with me and year 3 in the system, he's set up for a great year. Coming off last year, he's really healthy. I'm excited for him.
It's maybe you could talk to that as a coach. That guys can stay in a system for a couple years, 3 years for Sutton with Payton, second year with Bo. How much does that add to your progression in terms of what you can do? That's Mike.
Sorry, I muted myself there.
That's
Sorry.
all right.
It adds a lot. Continuity in his system, and then knowing that there's going to be incoming players to the roster that you can help conceptually bring along. I think it gives you a lot of value, and for me, it's always been the maturity level of Courtland Sutton, the great teammate nature of Courtland Sutton, and what appears to be just a guy that is approachable. So young players feel like they can approach him because he's not, one of these moody players that you never know what he's going to be like when he shows up. I think Courtland Sutton's had a big impact on Troy Franklin. Candidly, I think the difference between Troy Franklin a year ago and Troy Franklin now is significant. Even just the way he looks, the exuberance and joy he brings to the practice field so far every day that we've been able to be out there is very different than last year. So that's a great example. But then I see Courtland Sutton bringing along a guy like Patrick Bryant schematically, tricks of the trade, those types of deals. So it was interesting today. Courtland Sutton was not fully participating, right?
Well, right. Right. On purpose.
So now we know why. Now we know why.
Now we know why. We know why.
He was able to enjoy the fruits of his labor today. And the fat got fatter, which is good. And he deserves it, man. DMac, do you not? I mean, if there's a player that has been a consummate professional, has outperformed expectations, I believe, consistently,
Yeah.
I think that's Courtland Sutton.
Fine by me. Team leader, team captain, great dude, incredible ability, clutch player.
Mm-hmm.
I got no problems with it. And just one of those really, really unique athletes who's incredibly big, tall, bigger than Evan Ingram, a tight end. Takes care of his body, true professional. I think it's fantastic. And in all honesty, he's not costing you an arm and a leg. Not really. No. So, I think it's a great deal, and I'm glad they got it done. I do wonder where they are with Zack Allen, Nick Bonito, and we do have a grumpy Gus on the team, and that's John Franklin Myers, who is pouting about his salary on Twitter these days.
Okay. Yeah, John Franklin Myers, man, this seems to be a common theme with him, even the New York Jets organization. It's part of the reason that he was an available free agent is because, he wasn't satisfied with the offerings that the Jets were going to put forth and ended up entering into free agency in the market.
Yeah. Here we are again.
Good player. Great player. I don't know. The guy that I saw at practice today, and I kept watching him, he just seemed off. I didn't know if it was injury.
Okay.
But during a special teams period, I saw this player like gingerly walk/jog behind where the punt returners were.
Okay.
And went in the general direction of the facility and then kind of came back and just looked like out of sorts, out of whack. And I thought it was an injury at the time.
Yeah.
And now I think he might have known that somebody else was getting a contract.
Who is this?
It was Zack Allen.
That's funny.
That's
the news come out. The news did come out after practice was over.
But Courtland Sutton was missing from practice.
Correct.
He
was there, but he wasn't participating.
That's what I'm saying. The news was those types of things travel very quickly.
Okay. So perhaps is Zack Allen injured tomorrow? Is there I don't know. Oh man, I'm a little
He did look a little. He looked like it was something was bothering him.
Yeah.
Whether it was something physical or if it was something as it relates to his direct deposit.
Meanwhile, it was the first day in pads.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, especially for the guys in the front.
What changes, Coach, when the pads come on? And what changed today? Tell me what changed today.
The biggest thing that changed for me today is that your inside run periods, your team run and play action pass periods just felt more real.
Yeah.
The sound of football return, which is a glorious sound. It's what you live for, man. You can hear the pads popping.
It's funny. Sean Payton said, and let's get into inside linebacker because the news isn't. Well, it's not that great.
No.
Drew Sanders will be out 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. And then Alex Singleton.
Not to mention hampered development for a player that hasn't had a lot of NFL availability in training camp.
And Alex Singleton broke his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And the report is, whatever. 7, 8, 9 days. If there was a game this weekend, they just club him up and he'd play. And so talk to me about that for an inside linebacker, not having full thumbness.
Yeah, it's not ideal. A lot of the position at inside linebacker, just like defensive line, these offensive lines, they're trying to create combination blocks that two offensive linemen are essentially double teaming an inside defensive lineman or defensive end, an interior D lineman to get to the second level to then get one of those two players to come off the double team and take off the linebacker. Or sometimes the offensive lineman just climbs immediately in a zone scheme right up to the linebacker if they're uncovered. Well, when you're a linebacker, you have to have the ability to butt, which means like to violently engage the offensive lineman that's trying to block you, and then use your hands. And I'm talking hands to shed and make plays. So I don't love this that he's starting the year out not only as a guy from the opportunity to create interceptions, tough when you're wearing a club, but also just the guy's coming off of an ACL injury. So he's already hampered by that. It's not good news, man. I mean, the bottom line is, could it be worse? Oh yeah, could be way worse. But it's not great news for a position that just lost Drew Sanders for what appears to be an extended period of time. I didn't love the Drew Sanders news about ligament
or tendon. Yeah.
Tendon, ligament, surgeries on feet never go great, it feels like.
We are brought to you by Ramos Law, medical doctor and attorney. Injured in an accident? Contact Ramos Law at ramoslaw.com. Sean Payton had this comment, though, about Dre Greenlaw. Couple of nice compliments about Greenlaw.
Guys, when you put the pads on, you can see a little bit. Then when you can hear it with his film, how much does that physicality stand out in terms of what he brings to it?
I think it's one of his greatest strengths. You know, he plays the position in such a way where you can't help but notice it on film. His pad level, his strength, his lower body strength, I mean, it's impressive. So I'm glad we have him.
Is that true, Coach? Can you actually hear a more physical player? Can you hear them differently than the other players?
Yeah, Sean Payton used a term that I really like today, that he is not a leaky player.
Yeah, I've got that, right?
Which
it's
is
a
cool.
great compliment.
He plays like Mike Tyson. You know, I mean, he's tough, he's physical, he's built that way. There's not a lot of leaky yardage. You know, some guys, he's a knockback tackler. You know, they stop where he hits them. There's an intensity to how he plays, and it's just he's one of those players that if you put the film on and didn't say anything, at some point early you would ask, who is this guy?
He sounds different. He's our Mike Tyson. He's not a leaky player. He looks different on film. My goodness. Wow. The compliments for Dre Greenlaw.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like an inside linebacker. And I couldn't be more excited to watch Dre Greenlaw play inside linebacker.
Is that your Mike Tyson impression? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, it's a sound. There's a sound of Dre Greenlaw and how he goes about his business. He's about his business.
You know, I was wondering how they got Dre Greenlaw in the first place. Like, how did the Broncos convince them? And he revealed this today.
They wanted me, you know what I mean? Throughout the whole time I was talking to Sean, there was never no ifs, ands, buts, maybe this or that. It was like, man, we want you to be here. And, you know, I mean, I was a foster kid growing up, so it's not a lot of times that people just wanted me, you know what I'm saying? So it just made me feel special. It made me feel like this is the place where I needed to be.
Dude, I love this.
We're going way back, huh?
Well, did you know that Dre Greenlaw was a foster kid?
I had no idea. Today? No, I did not. No.
Did you know that Garrett Bowles was a foster kid?
Yeah, I did know that. I've known. Well, was he a foster kid or was he picked up by another family?
But,
I don't know.
Between the two media availabilities today, and I don't think it was it was a complete coincidence. Garrett Bowles talked about it and not knowing that Dre Greenlaw had spoken about his background as a foster child.
Yeah.
Garrett Bowles talked about the similarity of the two players. And
because Bowles was raised by another family, but I don't know if he was a foster child.
Maybe he was mentioning Dre Greenlaw with regards to the similarities, and he used the term foster, you know, that he grew up in a foster environment, which is really cool. Yeah. You know what? Filling in the blanks here, DMac. I'd heard talking to one of the coaches for the Broncos that there was a stigma around Dre Greenlaw league wide.
Interesting.
He's a difficult guy to coach.
Okay.
And this same coach said that over the course of OTAs, minicamp, and now training camp, he said that couldn't be further from the truth, which I thought was a really interesting tidbit when you combine that with the fact that Dre Greenlaw said in his media his podium time today, Sean Payton wanted me.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like you see a light in his eyes that ultimately he wasn't wanted by the 49ers organization at the end of the day. And maybe there was some of that wound, that the wounds that he carried from his childhood.
Yeah. How about that?
to make him a challenging player to coach.
Sure.
And then you go out and you create somebody, a relationship that Sean Payton right off the bat's like, we want you. And then Sean Payton speaks about you like you are different in a positive way, like you matter. Like that's really cool to me.
I think it's difficult for coaches to take the time to understand all of their players. And it's almost impossible to do. However, if you can get there, the same thing that motivates one guy isn't necessarily going to motivate the other.
Right.
It's not. And how guys are treated, maybe some guys do respond to the yelling and screaming and the tough coaching. And other guys are that's just not their bag, man. You're just not going to get the most out of them. But it was fascinating to find out that Greenlaw absolutely is impacted by how he grew up, even today, in terms of making choices on teams he could have been on. Seriously, I thought getting Dre Greenlaw was just unbelievable for the Broncos because he certainly would have had other suitors. And it looks like, Coach, the Broncos approached him the right way.
They clearly did. I'm very encouraged by his availability at this stage of training camp because the rumors coming out of, frankly, the San Francisco 49ers camp was that quad was obliterated in the offseason. And Sean Payton and the Broncos are like, hey, be careful where you get your information from. Let's consider the source here. And I think it was coming out of San Francisco. And it appears that was a bit of an ugly divorce between the 49ers and Dre Greenlaw. And Dre Greenlaw, as somebody that now covers the Broncos and certainly pulls for the Broncos, the Broncos country is fired up to have you here. I can tell you that. And
absolutely.
Watching him practice, watching him compete, and having him be available to be out there and compete with the injury news and the rumors in the offseason, it bodes well for the Denver Broncos defense, especially at a position that now needs depth. How about the timing of inside linebackers between Drew Sanders and Alex Singleton, who are clearly going to be sidelined for at least a couple, at least a week, right? Plus, in the case of Drew Sanders, it looks like more than that. I talked about Lavelle Bailey and what I'd heard about Lavelle Bailey.
Yeah.
Here's your opportunity, kid.
Here we go. I mean, that's just the way it goes. If you have it,
Lavelle Bailey, they're going to be competing on a daily basis for next guy up.
I'll tell you this. If you heard about Lavelle Bailey, you heard it from Coach Mike Sanford first. Ain't no doubt about it.
I even use hey, you better not get injured if you're one of the two inside backers because you'll get Wally pipped by Lavelle Bailey. Well, here we are. So I got to put my money where my mouth is now.
We are brought to you by Ramos Law, medical doctor and attorney. Find Ramos Law at ramoslaw.com, especially if you've been injured in an accident. Coach, before we move on to Prime, what other notes about today? What other observations did you have? Short practice, huh?
Yeah, it was a very short practice, hour and 28 minutes, first day in pads, heavy emphasis on.
Payton did say they're amping up, that they will be building up, and they do have, this was the first of 6 days in a row without a break.
Makes total sense. Makes complete sense. The thing that really struck me today was the distribution of carries in the team run 11 on 11 for the running backs. I saw J.K. Dobbins looks fantastic, Darren. I think he looks really good.
Excellent.
He looks like the best running back on your roster today. The second guy that's getting carries, it's RJ Harvey. And frankly, there's a gap, and I didn't see a lot of carries distributed between Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime. I didn't see much at all.
Interesting.
In the 11 on 11 component. So I don't know if it's that it was just luck of the draw, that practice was so short, so the sample size was really only 2 team periods. But it appeared that the first unit, the carries were given out to those 2 players, which are the new shiny objects for Sean Payton. Find out what I got, right? And I'd probably do the same thing if I'm a play caller. I kind of know what I got in Jaleel McLaughlin. I don't think that Sean fully knows what he has in Audric Estime, but maybe Sean thinks he knows what he has in Audric Estime. So he wanted to see exactly what he had with those 2 players, the 2 offseason additions between Harvey and Dobbins. And then there was a drop off. Then you saw a lot of distribution of carries between like more down the road running backs of Blake Watson and Tyler Bidet. And those 2 players, man, they're just okay.
Sure.
They're not NFL. I don't think either one of those guys are NFL running starters or really even 2s. I'm curious to see how this plays out with Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime.
Yeah, I think that's going to be fascinating too. And Sean Payton said it'll be obvious. He said this on Saturday. When we put the pads on, you'll see who's for real as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
He said everybody will be able to see. Is it that painfully obvious with running backs as soon as you put the pads on who's got the gumption for it and who doesn't?
Yeah, to me, J.K. Dobbins he's an NFL starting tailback that's had big time production. Remember the run he was on at the beginning of the season last year for the for the Chargers? Man, it just seemed like it was like 100-yard game after 100-yard game. He had a couple big, long breakaway runs, got a little banged up, and then the numbers started to decrease. But, man, he looks great. He looks like he's in tremendous shape. He looks explosive. He reads it well, has great vision. And then I think Harvey had the upside is there. He's very natural catching the football. Extremely natural. Those two guys are, man, they're different than the rest of the group. So that's what I've seen is that those two guys are viewed differently by Sean, but they are different. And Sean's right in I think testing the waters to see what he has with those two cats.
Well, the length of practice will grow as the week goes on. Very short today, but it will extend, and it's a little bit cooler tomorrow, so hopefully a better day for all things concerned. We turn our attention to Deion Sanders, and I got a couple of clips. Now, he spoke for a long time, Mike, and we were wondering what was going on, and it wasn't clear. Why wasn't it clear? Well, because he didn't make it clear to hardly anybody. But wow, what a shocking announcement when his doctors by his side said that he had a tumor in his bladder that had to be removed.
It was very high grade, invading through the bladder wall, not into the muscle layer, something we call very high risk, non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. So we did discuss options. We discussed some options of treatment in the bladder, and we discussed bladder removal as well. Given his commitments to his family and to the team, elected to undergo a bladder removal. We performed a full robot-assisted laparoscopic bladder removal and creation of a new bladder, and I am pleased to report that the results from the surgery are that he is cured from the cancer.
You can clap, it's okay.
Prime went on, Coach, to say that he didn't tell any. I clapped. When I was listening to the press conference, I clapped.
Yeah, we carried it. I think we were the only show in town that carried it live on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
I'm glad you did.
We weren't talking about the third string long snapper. We were paying attention to the biggest story, as we always do.
For me, who's very roughly the same age as Prime, he might have me by a year or so. Listen, man, you get into your late 50s, mid-late 50s, you start feeling more vulnerable about stuff. And you got more, hey, I still got some gas in the tank, man. We're not about to wrap this bad boy up. But you feel a lot more human as you have more people your age that come across with things. Now, I mean, Prime was very emotional. We'll get to that in just a second, but he didn't tell Shadur. He didn't tell Shiloh. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't tell the team. Only a handful of people actually knew what was going on. And in a very Prime way today, he was incredibly open, almost to a fault, about what he's going through.
Doctor, but from another individual. And to have that been told, like it's a totally different life. I mean, thank God. I depend on depend. If you know what I mean. I truly depend on depend. Like I cannot control my bladder. So I get up and go to the bathroom already 4 or 5 times a night. But then I'm sitting up there, waking up, like my grandson, we in the same thing. We got the same problem right now. We going through the same trials and tribulations. We trying to see who has the heaviest bag at the end of the night. Like it's ridiculous. But I'm making a joke out of it, but it's real. Like it is real. It is real. It is real. So if you see porta potty on the sideline, it's real. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see the practice. You're gonna see one because it is unbelievable. Like. Dozing off and waking up. First thing I'm grabbing my crotch to see if I peed on myself.
I went like that the entire press conference, from very serious things to almost like more lighthearted stuff. And I want to play one more thing for you, Coach, because as a man of faith, this is where Prime truly drew upon to keep going through an unbelievable difficult
And
time.
I couldn't, but slowly but surely I built myself back up to where I'm able, I'm strong, I'm ready. I'm still probably about 12 pounds down. I'm gonna get that right. I'm gonna fill these overalls up like no other. But it has been a tremendous journey, and I'm truly thankful that God is so good. God is so good. You have no idea. You have no idea how good God has been to me. For me to be here. You have no idea. Thank you. Thank you both for everything.
My goodness, Coach.
Yeah, it's a heavy moment. It's a moment of real transparency. The whole press conference was really transparent to explain what's been going on. It's been, I mean, just the coach in me can't even fathom a head football coach for reasons unknown up until this morning at 11 o'clock. Why is Coach Prime, a head coach of a Power 4 program, not physically present with his team for 3+ months?
Yeah.
And people would say it's the off season. Guys, there's no off season in college football. There's no off season in high school football.
Right.
It's go time year round. And to hear this and the transparency of it, a lot of respect for Coach Prime, and, you know, drawn upon his faith and understanding that he is in a position, you know, that he just went through a tremendous trial. And I heard Vic Lombardi today. He joined our program this morning on the morning sprint and talked about, hey, when you have cancer, that's something that stays with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's like being an addict, right? And it's not a great analogy, but in the sense, like, you might not be relapsing into your old ways, but you're still carrying addict. And as a cancer survivor, you still have that fear of the cancer coming back. And, you know, today was one of those days that I had no idea what was going to happen. I knew today was going to be a big day in the sports world as it relates to Boulder, Colorado. And just listening to the press conference myself live and hearing the way that it was handled was awesome. One of the heroes of the story for me, for Coach Prime in particular, is if you're watching the press conference, not the doctor from CU Anschutz, who's definitely a hero, but for Coach Prime it's his sidekick for health since he's been at Jackson State, and that's Lauren Askvold. She's been with him as a sports medicine trainer, both at Jackson State, and now she's an assistant sports med trainer. And when you watch that Prime documentary and you see what happened at Longmont, at the UC Health Center up there in Longmont, and the surgery he had that he nearly had to get his foot amputated, you see her, she's massaging out all of the inflammation and you know, the skin that's dead. And I mean, she has been there in the trenches with Coach Prime. And honestly, she has an incredible heart. I don't know her. She's been with Coach Prime the whole time, but she's somebody I've watched and say, that's somebody you want in your corner. And so big tip of the cap for me, to Lauren Askvold, for the way she's served Coach Prime. And I think she's a hero to him, clearly.
Yeah, and we wish him nothing but the best, and we're happy to hear that the prognosis sounds good as of today. And a lot of things in life, Coach, we just take one day at a time, no doubt about it. So
get your stuff checked out, man.
Yeah, that's the message to men.
DMac, when's the last time you got your stuff checked out?
It's been a while. In fact, Vic, we had Vic on too on our radio show, and he asked, who's your primary physician? And I used to have one. I did. And I was pretty good with it for a while. And then life changed. My insurance changed. And he wasn't covered by my insurance anymore. And I felt like, oh, man, like, I have my guy. He'll be my guy forever. And that's that. And that changed. And I was like, all right, well, I got to get a new one. Well, that was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm way overdue for that, and it's a good message, and I'll be sure to get on it. I consider myself absurdly lucky overall with my health, that I just haven't had any kind of issues, but that doesn't mean I can't.
Same.
Also, you know, Prime, to to be able to go for a walk, Coach. You were watching your kid play football today, and a beautiful night, right? That you were outside, and I think there's a reason why, beyond just being cheap with gas and being a little bit of a poser hippie, there is another reason I just get on my bike basically every day, and I live close enough to work where it's relatively easy to commute, but I'm kind of a weirdo with that. Like I just kind of, but Mike, I won't be able to just get on my bike every single day for the rest of my life. There'll be a finite time that actually makes sense. So I look forward to it every day. I look at the day as a little bit of a challenge about how to get from here to there. And there is something about, hey, being physical, getting outside, and just being part of whatever's going on around you that I find helpful for me. Yeah. And for those that have that taken away, as it was taken away for Prime, that'd be brutally awful. And I heard somebody say, well, if he doesn't want to coach, or, he could do this, he could have a settlement. And I'm like, no, you're looking at it all wrong. This ain't about the money. This is something that he is born to do. He is born to be around kids and to coach. I really do believe that. I don't think it's about the money whatsoever. I think for a long time it's about his kids, but I think it's about being around younger people that you get energy from. You must find that as a coach.
You do. Even for me, man, I really ended up taking 1 year off of coaching, starting in 2005. I was a graduate assistant at UNLV, and I got about 75 helmets around right now behind me, and all the different coaching spots I've been at. But I coached after CU, got let go by Coach Prime and the staff, which is very typical. It's not atypical for an offensive coordinator, a part of a 1-11 football team, to not be retained by a new head coach that he doesn't even know, has never met. Although I did have a really nice meeting with Coach Prime, that Rick George had really recommended that Coach Prime interviews me, and it went very well. I mean, I hit it off with him, hit it off with Shedeur, spent about 20 minutes with both Coach Prime, and then about 20 minutes with Shedeur in a separate room. But yeah, I mean, for me, I took 1 year off, and even just being back out there this year, it's crazy. Just from, like you were mentioning, just being able to go out and be on your bike. It's kind of, for me, it's getting outside, and the way I coach football, man, I'm running up and down the sidelines. Nobody stands still. Our practices, the other day we had a scrimmage, all three levels. And just like, I think it was like hour and 18 minutes. We ended up, I turned on the film that night. We had 100 reps. So I'm like, that's how I like to run practice. Like, we want to go, man.
Let's go.
And it's been fun for me, healthy for me, good for me. And back to Coach Prime. I mean, yeah, it's certainly something I know he's going to draw a lot of energy from when he gets back around the team. Even saw the first team meeting, I think it was yesterday before this announcement of battling cancer and being cured of cancer. The other side of that is when you do face mortality, which Coach Prime now has faced mortality, honestly, in multiple instances. Some of the clotting issues that he's had, some of the, don't think that those clotting issues are just isolated to feet and circulatory issues in your lower body. There's some scares around heart, and lungs and clotting that can happen. At some point, you start thinking about what you really value. And I think the legacy that Coach Prime is going to always value the most is going to be that of his children. So that's something to keep an eye out as this thing progresses. Is him wanting to have the opportunity at some point to continue to be a part of his sons, both his sons and daughters' athletic endeavors.
Yeah, and a grandfather now too. So he's got that going on as well, as he pointed out. Okay. Big day today. Back at training camp tomorrow. We'll start there at 6 a.m. with Brett Kane on the radio. And then the morning sprint follows Mosier, Lombardi, and Kane with Coach Mike Sanford and Good Raj. And then Tyler and Scott out at the tent. And we're kind of in a weird spot with our show. We can't be out there the whole time. And I'm going to try to make it even for a short period of time, Coach, tomorrow, just to get a glint of what's going on. It breaks my heart to leave early. What can I tell you? But
you have no other choice.
It kind of tis what it is. But I'm not complaining. I'm just describing one way or the other. We'll be back tomorrow night. Yes.
One thing I've learned, DMac, as you explain your attendance or non-attendance is there are people that are taking attendance of who's at practices.
No doubt about that.
And I've always learned this. If somebody is going to be verbal about how hard they work, a lot of times that doesn't necessarily mean they're working that hard.
My friend, I understand, and I'm laughing on the inside and the outside.
Yes, sir.
Coach, we'll talk to you on this particular show, training camp recap tomorrow night at 8:30. The Rockies were up 2-0. It's 3-3. The bases were loaded with no outs. They're losing 4-3. The bases are still loaded. There is one out. Kind of see where this is going. So Victor Vodnik, after paternity leave, is back.
Oh,
well, okay.
Who's going to take a longer paternity leave, Victor Vodnik? Or Alex Ryanemi?
Alex Ryanemi will take the longest paternity leave of all time.
He'll probably mix in a couple trips to Cabo, and he'll probably be overseas, and he'll probably go to Dubai for something. Who knows? As part of paternity leave.
Not only that, he'll probably have the second kid while he's on paternity leave. And on that note, we will talk to you tomorrow.